There's a couple of reasons why we're here today. Who can tell me why we're here today? Anybody? What are we doing here today?
This is your initial property that you bought.
Okay, so I did a whole bunch of deals when I was younger and got started in this business being multifamily, highest and best use. What's highest and best use? What's highest and best use? Let me give you an example. When I found this piece of property, it was a empty field with some beehives on it. I put the property under contract and I collected rent. What was my rent? Anybody want to know? 2 jars of honey a year. That was the beehives. The guy said, if I leave my beehives here, I'll give you honey for rent. And I'm like, you got a deal. Really good honey. So interesting stuff though. The premise of what we're going to study today, guys, is called highest and best use. I wrote a book on this. It went to #1 on the movers and shakers list on Amazon. Sold a bunch of copies of it. Highest and best use. It's the art and science of seeing things for what they can be, not for what they are. And this is something that you have to learn. And everything today is going to be, here's what we saw, here's what we did, here's how we profited. And I want you to think about that all the way through. We don't do little deals like this anymore, and we're going to get back to some of them because I've got my son here. This is Hunter. You guys know that. And I've got Chris from our office. These guys are on our entitlement team, but I want to teach these guys how to think. More than anything, doing deals and being a part of deals and entitling deals, I want to teach them how to think. If you can learn how to think, then things can be different for you. So what's got a higher and better use? What's worth more? When we say highest and best use, that typically comes down to one word. What is it? Density. Density equals dollars. What that means is the more dense we can make something, the more valuable it becomes. And there's 3 or 4 kinds of density you might want to write down. Should we go through them real quickly?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Guys, we're going to have to be a little more spirited today if this is going to go well. So let's go through several types of density that we're looking for, because density equals dollars. That's the thing you want to write down and remember. Density equals dollars. If you find density, you get dollars. Density equals appreciation, and we call that forced appreciation. Forced appreciation being the market didn't go up. When I found this piece of land and put a plat on it and started it through Springville City, the market in the time that I drew this plat for 35 homes in this subdivision right here, turned the plat into the city and got it started down the path. We'll talk about this particular deal in here in a minute. The market didn't go up in that time frame, but yet I sold it for a lot more than I purchased it for. How's that possible? Because we forced appreciation through use change using the tool of density. So density equals dollars. Write this down. Here's the first one you want to trigger. First density change for you is lots. If you can get more lots, the more lots you get, the more dense it is, the more valuable it becomes. Density, lots, that's #1. #2 is units. If I tear out a duplex and put in a 40-plex, which one's worth more? If I tear out a single-family residence, we have one on 12th Street in Ogden, single-family house, it was pink, boarded up, homeless people, squatters there. You ever see a squatter, you say to them, "Squat, are you doing here?" That confuses them. "Squat, are you doing here?" CJ and Lily, what would a home in this neighborhood sell for per square foot?
Today?
Yeah.
I would say probably the 200s.
I would say easy 250, right? So if I can put new square footage in at $150 a square foot, and it appraises at $250 a square foot, what do we have, ladies and gentlemen? What do we have? 1,000 square foot addition on a home equals what? $100 per square foot times 1,000 square feet is $100,000. Did you get the math right there? That wasn't critical. Now, how do you do that? We're not going to see one of those today. I've done a lot of those. But you get into a subdivision like this, you look for the lowest level home, meaning the entry level home. If you got 5-bedroom, 3-baths down to 3-bedroom, 2-baths, you take a 3-bedroom, 2-bath and convert it into a 5-bedroom, 3-bath type of a conversion. Does that make sense? So it fits. You don't want to take the biggest home in the neighborhood and add a bunch of stuff to it. People won't come into that house. But that's the third type of density, which is square footage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, here's a fourth one that's going to be counterintuitive to you a little bit, but the fourth one is tax IDs. What's a tax ID? What's a tax ID? When I found this field, how many lots were there? How many tax IDs were there? How many owners were there? One. We subdivide and put on 35 lots. How many tax IDs are there now? 35. So by creating more tax IDs, and tax IDs often show up as in condominiums, they often show up in townhomes, they show up in single family homes. But there's other places they show up. Can I give you a couple of quick examples that you won't write down?
Okay.
I've seen people that take storage sheds and sell them. They create tax IDs for storage sheds. I've seen boat rental places that sell boat slips. I've seen boat slips for sale at Lake Powell, for example, where you can buy a boat slip and it has an ownership identification marker, which is a tax ID. I've seen parking lots where you buy a parking stall. You buy 100 stalls, you subdivide the stalls and sell individual units. Highest stall I've seen go for sale was a $250,000 stall that sold in downtown San Francisco. Sold, downtown San Francisco. So we're creating more. More is more valuable. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? So that's what, there's two things you're gonna have to train your brain for today. How do I see higher and better use, which is, and this is what this is gonna be, is a study of higher and better use. And I'm gonna give you a fifth one. Anyone want a fifth one? Will you write the fifth one down? Because you don't look like you want the fifth one. But the fifth one that we're gonna add is terms. Terms. Kind of an interesting thing to call density, but if you have more terms in your purchase, more terms in your financing, more terms in your financials, those are forms of density to me, and they produce income. We used to teach terms fixer-uppers. Terms fixer-uppers being what? Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
You seller finance $1 million piece of land to me, I put $250 down, and you seller finance it to me at 6%.
Right.
I turn around and seller finance it to him for $1.5 million with $850 down. I get my $350 back plus a $500,000 bump, and he carries, and I give him the note. And there's ways to make it assumable without making it assumable. And he carries it 8 or 10%. So I pick up the difference between $1 million and $1.5 million, and I pick up the interest rate differential for as long as the rate is out there. And those are terms. Terms. There's 30 terms in seller financing that you use as, I like to call them, weapons of war. It's a little bit hyperbolic, but they're weapons of war for me. Meaning, if you know terms, and that's the fun thing about it, is if you know terms, then you can win almost any negotiation, because there's ways to overpay but get better terms. There's ways to underpay and get a bad deal. If your interest rate is too high, for example, or your down payment is too much. I'm going to show you a property today that we purchased with $1. Anybody want to learn that one?
Yeah.
$1. $1. And I'll show you that deal, and maybe you'll be more excited than that at then. In fact, I want one of you guys to go ahead and donate $1 to the pot here, and I'll have a memory of what that deal was like for me. So that's what we have here today. You guys know I'm Mike Watson. I'm the CEO of Summa Terra Ventures. We do ground-up construction, multifamily, and mixed use across 5 states. We have, in some form or fashion, about 3,000 doors going. And this is not what we do anymore. And we're going to get back to it, some of our roots here. So if you find projects that are townhomes, condominium projects, residential projects, we're interested in talking to you guys about doing partnerships. But this is different from our wheelhouse, and I thought it might be impactful for some of you guys. If I walk you into a $40 million building, some of you guys, your brains literally shut off. Why is that? Yeah, it's like, oh, this is overwhelming. This is overwhelming. But you're going to see a lot less than $40 million buildings today. In fact, we won't see anything that comes anywhere near a fraction of $40 million. So that you can say to yourself, gosh, I can do this. Today is a confidence builder. Today is a vision seeker day. Okay? Any questions?